one of the prerequisites for being able to project your voice like an actor. And the next one is also a lot of fun. And this one is to pretend, this is from laughter yoga, by the way. I don't know if any of you have tried that before, but it's a lot of fun. And what you're going to do on this is to pretend you're on a roller coaster. The fair is about here, so this would be a good one to try. And so as you inhale, you're going to be going ah, with your arms coming up over your head. And then now you're going down, oh. That sounded pretty good. Let's do it again. Ah, oh. Boy, you are in good shape. And the next one is throwing a ball, as though you're like you're throwing a ball, as you count from 1 to 10. You pick out a corner or a place across the room from you that's far away. You pick up your imaginary ball as you inhale, and then you count 1, like that. And we're going to progress one more number each time we throw the ball till we get all the way up to 10. Let's see if we can manage all the way up to 10. Okay, so we pick up the ball and inhale. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, you're in good shape. Wow. Okay, the next one is also from Laughter Yoga, and this is where we clap our hands as we do our vowel sounds. Do you remember those? With the letter H in front. It will go something like ha, hey, he, ho, ha, hey, he, ho, okay? You remember that? Ah, A, E, O, U, with the H in front. So here we go. Are you ready? And ha, hey, he, ho, ha, hey, he, ho, ha, hey, he, ho, faster, ha, hey, he, ho, excellent. Okay, pretty on the last one.
Can I stretch like a dog?
Pardon?
Are you going to do stretch like a dog?
Oh yeah, we can do that. We can stretch like a dog. If you push your hands out in front. Yes, that's good. And then bring them up over the head if you can. Okay, and look up at the ceiling. And then open the arms out. There you go. And if you can, reach behind you. Can you reach behind you like that? I have extremely long arms, so. Okay. Well, anyway, those are all good exercises to kind of keep us fit and alive, so to speak. And anyway, we are kind of waiting on one of our actors, and we're hoping she's okay. But anyway, I think we probably...
Let's do introductions of people.
Okay, that's a good idea. We're going to introduce to you our main characters, which we're starting with Marie. And Marie, if you'd like to tell us where you're from and everything.
Hi, my name's Marie Arnold, and I grew up in New York City and moved to Springfield in 1983, and I'm almost a native now. I joined STARS last year, and it's been a lot of fun for me. I just love the involvement. I love watching as you enjoy whatever we perform. So thank you for being here.
Okay, and Jane, you're available?
Hello, I'm Jane, and I've been involved a little longer than Marie, and it is fun. It isn't often you get to do something so contrary to what you were trained to do. I was a teacher, but that's performing too, isn't it? How many of you were teachers? Any? Oh, look at them all. Fantastic. Well, I taught foreign languages, which was lots of fun, and I'll tell you about my journeys.
Hello, my name is Tony Tucker, and I'm from New Orleans. And I just want to let you know that I'm so glad Springfield doesn't have hurricanes. Thank you.
Okay, Shirley.
Watch out for a tornado.
We do have tornadoes. I'm Shirley Ryan, and I've been with the group probably almost as long as Phyllis has. No, not quite that long. But I am, I don't remember how many years it's been. It's been a while. But we have a lot of fun doing this, and we hope you have almost as much fun as we do when we do things like this.
Tony,
Well, I'll say the person that we're missing is Mary Lou Beckner, so she should be here pretty soon. We won't have you wait too much longer though, so if she doesn't manage to arrive, we will just start and she can fit herself in along the way. I am Tellery Arundel. I teach in the theater and dance department at MSU. So I'm an associate professor there and spend time this is my second summer now.
Can't hear you.
Oh, really? This is my second summer working with the seniors as stars. And what I generally do, which we've done for the last 2 years to some extent last year and more this year, is make up our own script, right? So these are people telling their own stories. So nothing you hear today, is that correct? Or maybe we have one thing that's not?
Yes, there is a.
Yes, there's a poem that's not written by us, but that's the only thing. So everything else has been written by the people that you see speaking it. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. We're hoping and praying that Mary Lou shows up, but maybe we should just start without her.
Phyllis needs to talk.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, Phyllis should talk too.
Okay. My name is Phyllis Frick, and I started Seniors as Stars as part of my master's degree in theater and dance at Missouri State University. And everyone seemed to enjoy this so much that we just kept doing this all these years. And I've made so many wonderful friends in the space of doing this, not only in the cast itself, which we've always become very close, but also among you. And some of you may remember us being here before. We were here several years ago, but anyway, we're looking forward to it. And I'll be telling you about my career in New York City and a little bit about what happened there. And I think it should make for an interesting day for you. And so, let's see, I think we might just
Let's go ahead
go
and start. If she gets
Right.
in, then she'll fit herself.
She may, I don't know if she talked to me on my cell phone or not yet.
That's okay. Let's just start, and if she comes, then we'll add her in.
Why are you putting it up?
Aren't I supposed to? Because Phyllis has to dance first.
Oh, what?
What?
Okay, I think we'll go. So I'm leading the first group.
I'm driving in a cruiser of a Broadway show on stand on a newly opened highway with no posted speed limits or traffic warnings near Columbus, Tennessee. I was driving too fast to make a deadline for unloading scenery in Knoxville, Tennessee. I was going 90 miles an hour when I tried to pass a truck on the two-lane highway when a car suddenly appeared out of culvert traveling towards me from the opposite direction. Prior to this, I had been arguing with my friend sitting next to me, but now, being an inexperienced driver on highways, I begged his help since he was a more experienced driver than I. He took the wheel and turned the car so that we hit the other car's nose with our car's nose side by side instead of a head-on crash. There was a steep cliff on the right side which had prevented us from going that way. I was not injured, but two of my friends sitting in the front seat were badly injured, and the three in the back seat had minor injuries. After accompanying my injured friend to the hospital, I called a local Christian Science practitioner whom I had never met for extra support, as I was so devastated I never wanted to drive again. I left the show and then returned to my parents' home in Houston, Texas, where circumstances there were such that my father needed me to drive him while he recovered from an operation, which I hesitantly did, being reinforced by the practitioner's good work. But I never drove that fast again.
My friend Peg. When I answered the knock at my back door, I was surprised to see a young, busty woman wearing a white top and black shorts, holding a mop in one hand and a bucket with all kinds of supplies in the other. She introduced herself as Peg Schumann, and she said her daughter Audrey had told her that all 4 of my children had the flu, and she wanted to help. I was so surprised by her visit, I was speechless. She said, "I'm going to make you a cup of tea, and we'll sit and chat and get to know each other." The lake where my children grew up had a clubhouse. During the summer months, Peg was in charge of the games and weekend activities that the kids had. And at the end of summer, there was a kids' variety show. I can still hear Pat Tangway's laughter at the musical efforts that didn't happen and the joy that only kids can give. As our kids grew up, we grew up too. The clubhouse was in need of repair. So Peg suggested an adult variety show where people could pay and see the show, and it would help the club. So for the next 5 years, Peg directed the adult variety show, and it was a tremendous success. And Peg was so proud of us, and it made us believe that anything is possible. Peg's latest challenge in life happened to her on Memorial Weekend this year. She had a stroke. Her left side is paralyzed, and she is getting feeling back in her fingers, and she is walking with a cane. Peg is a trooper. She has a faith that will move mountains, and she trusts in God for her strength and mercy. Peg has a tremendous intuitiveness. She can read people's body language and even the secrets behind their voices. Peg is a psychotherapist and has helped many people heal, and now it's her turn to heal. I spoke with her a couple days ago, and she said she's doing really good. She only needed 2 things. One is a good bowel movement, and the other is a good cry.
Yeah.
Keep her in your thoughts for that.
Let me get a picture. Hold it. Let me get a picture of her, honey.
I travel a lot.
Have you gone to Portugal?
Yes?
Have you been to Norway?
Uh-huh. Oh, and Africa too. Now that was a journey. Whoa. When I went to Africa, my daughter-in-law called and she said, Jane, we're planning a family and friends trip in February. Do you want to go? Well, where are we going? Who's going? How much is it? When are we going? I didn't know anything. She said, well, it's a family and friends trip, and we'll go in February, and you and I will share lodging, and it is expensive. And I said, well, I've got to think about this a minute. Didn't take too long. Sure, I'll go. Sure, I will. Well, they chose a wonderful company called Africa Dream Safari. We began our safari at the base of Kilimanjaro, which is the tallest, largest freestanding mountain on Earth, and it always has a dome of snow. On our first hour out on the adventure in the Land Rover, we were so excited. Look, look, there's a lioness and 3 cubs. Oh, but no, there's some cheetahs over here. We bounced around in that Land Rover like kids at a carnival. The poor drivers were really worried. They had a bunch of crazy people in their car. The giraffes, now that's a design. They have these brown patches all over. Each one is circled in white. And when you're really low in the Land Rover and you look up, they go on forever. But the poor wildebeest, he really got a short shift. They're not too bright. And they're not too pretty. They have the head of a water buffalo, the mane of a horse, the body of cattle, and little scrawny legs of an antelope. And since they're not too bright, they are real targets for the lions and the cheetahs. They can talk, but only 2 words. North, south, north, south. You hear this all across the Serengeti. North, south. Well, in the afternoon, we were out in the Land Rover, and there was this young wildebeest looking all around all by himself, and we knew he'd be a target. So my grandson, Doug, jumped up in the Land Rover and began bellowing, north, south, over and over again until that little fellow followed the Land Rover back to the herd and found his mother. That was great. That night we stayed at a lodge, a safari lodge called Indutu. And in the yard there are signs that say, do not go out of the mowed area. That seemed pretty smart to me. That night, Elaine woke me. She said, Jane, wake up. You're snoring. I don't think so, Elaine. I am awake. Well, then what's all that snorting and scratching I hear? I don't know. So we go creeping to the door and open it just a little ways. And it was pitch black. Well, you couldn't see a thing. But outside that door was the snorting and the scratching. We thought, maybe those animals cannot read the signs in the garden.
I started early, took my dog and visited the sea. The mermaids in the basement came out to look at me, and frigates in the upper floor extended hempen hands, presuming me to be a mouse aground upon the sands. But no man moved me till the tide went past my simple shoe, and past my apron, and my belt, and past my bodice too, and made as he would eat me up, as wholly as the dew upon a dandelion's sleeve. And then I started too, but he followed close behind. I felt his silver heel upon my ankle. Then my shoes would overflow with pearl until we met the solid town, no one he seemed to know. And bowing with a mighty look at me, the sea withdrew. Oh, Emily Dickinson, how I miss the beach.
Recently, an older gentleman was shopping in Kroger's. This is taking place in Memphis, Tennessee. And a young man approached him and said, "I'll be glad to carry your purchases out to your car if you will buy me a package of donuts." The older man started talking to him and found out that he and his mother had not eaten at all that day. And they just really had nothing. So he went on a little shopping spree with this boy. And he said later on that the boy seemed hungry and ashamed and broken. So he helped him around the store a little bit. And they picked up some bread and cereal and some canned fruit and vegetables, just kind of kitchen basics, really. And then he took the young man home. And the young man was right. They had nothing. The house they were living in had no furniture, no chairs, not beds. They were sleeping in sleeping bags. But through it all, the young man had managed to stay in school, kept his grades up, and so the older man, when he got home, thought about it for a bit, and he thought he wanted to help him because he said he wanted a job and try to make some money to help his mother pay the rent. So the older man put this story on his Facebook page and started a GoFundMe page with the in mind to get enough money to buy him a lawnmower so he could mow lawns and make a little money. Well, the last time I checked, they had enough to the GoFundMe page. They had taken in enough money for a lawnmower and beyond. Now, as for me, I started life like most of you did. Went to school, got a job, got married, had some kids, and when the kids got older, I opened up a business of my own, an antique shop, and it lasted for about 40 years.
My spiritual journey in life has been full. Being raised a Roman Catholic, I started my spiritual journey, and it still evolves. I learned to speak Latin, and shortly after this happened, a transition took place, and the Mass went to all English. While some of the solemnity of that mysterious language was lost, the benefits were not lost. I was taught by the Sisters of Charity, and my mom, being a great baker, supplied them with fresh baked goodies all the time. Actually, I think my brother and I got the best parts in school plays because of that gift. Sister John Mary called me a name in class that I thought was good until I told my parents.
Boy, am I happy and relieved. I believe wholeheartedly in the Unitarian Universalist principles. They believe in loving and caring of all people, and sharing and protecting this earth. I think I have found a real home for my heart.
After leaving my parents in Atlantic City, I took a bus to Port Authority bus station in New York City. And then I called Sylvia, who was a friend of my fellow dance teachers, and she wasn't home yet. So I wandered around the outside of the Port Authority bus station, which was then, as I found out later, called Hell's Kitchen. And I heard women yelling to one another from one apartment window to another apartment window across the way. I also heard the sound of horns honking and blaring from buses and taxi cabs. In fact, I even learned to hail a taxi. And also what the fare would be from the Port Authority bus station to Sylvia's apartment from my friend, my contact friend, Jim. And Jim and I got to be in the same show, which was the Lincoln Mercury Industrial Show in Detroit. He got to be Jimmy Durante, and I got to be Marilyn Monroe. What fun!
12 hours of Spanish does not a teacher make. I knew I had to work on my ability to speak Spanish before I could teach a high school class to learn the language, so I decided the best way to learn was to immerse myself in the true Spanish culture. Madrid, Spain, here I come!
Downsizing was both less and more than I expected. I have less clutter, less dusting, and I've lost irreplaceable items I never intended to live without. I have more leisure, more grief, more time to cry, and most of all, I miss my best friend, Lucille. We have internet, but it's not the same. And I also miss what I came to think of as modern medicine. You know, pain medication, sleeping pills. Evidently in Springfield, these drugs must be bought on the black market.
By the time I was in my 50s, I began losing people in my life. Grandparents, parents, even classmates and friends. I just had dinner last night with an old friend of 50 years and her friend. One of them is looking at ankle surgery the last of next month, and she can barely walk. The other has a long list of ailments, some that she's had since she was in high school.
After a much time and a move to a different section of the country, I began to feel that Catholicism was actually holding me back from a complete spiritual relationship.
Last fall, my brother Lee came to visit in Springfield. He invited me to attend his church. which is the UU Church by coincidence. Someone to go with. I really couldn't escape it any longer. So I took the plunge. That Sunday service was a total fiasco for me. The service topic was pets, and some had put photograph of their pets on the table. Then the children put their stuffed animals on the table. And then people told stories about their pets. Some were alive and some were departed. Well, I love animals, and I cannot see a sad movie or read a sad story that I don't get tearful. So I got tearful. And the tears started to fall, and I cried like a baby. My shoulders were shaking and my face was all red, and the minister just looked at me in shock.
Did we do this to you?
No. My poor brother was so embarrassed and puzzled. Me, I was mortified to death. Well, I finally asked myself, why did I fall apart? I did figure it out. It was from relief. I had finally made the leap.
Well, I spent my last 2 years in high school in Lebanon, Missouri, which, as some of you know, is northeast of here in Springfield. And then I came to Missouri State University for college. And at that time, of course, it was called Southwest Missouri State College. And then from there, I went on to Tulsa, which is my birthplace. And there, I went into a partnership with Les Dameroff in a dance studio for about a year. And then I took a journey that changed my whole life. My parents had invited me to go on a trip to the East Coast with them, where my dad was attending a sales meeting. And I got to go and further my dance studies in New York City. I think it's
The seasonal changes here are beautiful. I collected autumn leaves as if they were diamonds. And my dog Lorelei had her first taste of snow and found it addicting. I bought my first pair of snow boots. But then it only snowed once. These boots will probably be in tip-top condition when I die of old age. Moving to, where am I?
My first trip to Europe was a dream come true. Strangely enough, it came about because the principal of the high school where I taught English, speech and debate, and theater approached me one afternoon and said, since I had more college hours in Spanish than any other teachers, he would like for me to teach one little old Spanish class. I wasn't tenured for another 4 years, and so I said, bueno. Of course, he didn't understand. Ay caramba!
It's kind of hard to juggle. I'm sure that I am like millions of others who start out in life never giving a thought to how long your life is going to be, where the journey is going to take you. So, let's see. Oh, when you get to be in your 60s and 70s, that's probably the first time you think about, will I ever be 80? But you can get there, and let me tell you that it's not half bad, because I wake up in the morning and I'm still above ground.
After many weeks of prayer, making a change in my spiritual direction, I became Episcopalian. It was eye-opening to me and has me evolving in many directions. Shortly after that, I moved to the Lutheran Church, and the people were so loving there. It just was so enriching. However, now I attend a non-denominational church called North Point, where the Word of God is preached and the love of God is experienced both inside and outside the church as we serve others.
Since the 60s, I wanted to be part of a church. No, not the building. I wanted to be part of a congregation and maybe sing in the choir and make some new friends. However, I was teaching full-time and I always saved Sundays for rest and laundry. Besides, where to go? I had made some decisions over the years of what I do believe and what I don't believe, but I still didn't know where to go. Two women who I enjoyed very much invited me to their church. I didn't know a thing about it though. I didn't know the mission, the credo, nothing. I didn't know anybody else in the congregation either. So I asked my brother, big brother. He was a member of this church in his town, and he has always been happy with the congregation, with the mission, with the words of the sermons, and I got to thinking, maybe I will be too.
Well, I arrived at Sylvia's apartment in New York, but she still wasn't there. So I sat on my suitcase in front of her apartment building, and a young man came up and started talking to me and started imitating the apartment manager, Jaron Jack, who arrived a little bit later, and very graciously allowed me to stay inside Sylvia's apartment till she got there. And the young man just happened to be Warren Beatty, and he lived next door.
Wow.
Well, Sylvia finally came, and I found out she was a dancer also, and she also was a member of my same church, which was nice. And we just barely squeezed into her basement studio apartment, and we shared it with a grand piano. And so after that, I had the audition that kind of changed my life. I went to Radio City and auditioned for the Rockettes. And I didn't make the first call, but because the director wanted me to go and get some professional experience, which led me to another choreographer. And he hired me and 5 other dancers to go to Ottawa, Canada, and dance at the Gatineau Country Club. And that is a whole different story and journey. Then I have always enjoyed the fast pace of New York City, and also the love and appreciation of the different races and their cultures has never left me. And so I tell all my friends, if you can't afford to take a trip around the world, go to New York City. And that, my friends, is my journey from small to grand.
Now here I am at the senior center. When did I become a senior citizen? It seems like only yesterday I had to show my ID to buy a cocktail.
Oh, yeah, right.
I would never grow old, or at least I would never feel it, and certainly not look it. Old age happened to others. They were a different species.
Wait a minute.
Unlucky to have been born that way, like dogs who age 7 years in one. If I just keep moving and stay slim, I'm going to live forever.
Sure.
After a great deal of considering Spanish programs, I decided to join a group of East Tennessee State adults going to Madrid, Spain for 8 weeks of immersion in the Spanish culture. Saying that I didn't know what I was getting into is a gross understatement. When I first arrived at the Madrid airport, I was exhausted. The fact that my Spanish was limited didn't help. When I was just about over the edge, I learned that my luggage was lost. That was when my adventure began. Hola, amigos!
Hey.
Okay, thank you so much for coming and for watching.
Sorry, there's something like that. What about the journeys that you all have taken? What was your favorite one that you ever took? Can you remember? I think mine was probably to France when I was in high school. I got to go as an exchange student for about a month one summer and just stay there and eat really good French food. The problem, and I understood most of what people were saying to me, I was not so good about just making mistakes and letting that be if I was a perfectionist. So I don't want to speak. I wanted to listen and learn.
Have you made a journey?
You guess not?
That
lady's got one.
I've got a microphone that can move. You can just hold the microphone. You can just hold the microphone.
Well, she's asking where you have been. I've been to quite a few places, but I suppose a month in Australia with 2 guides around the outer edge. The first week and first 2 weeks, and 2 guides the second 2 weeks around the other half, and seeing almost 500 different species of birds to add to my life list of approximately 1,500 different species is one thing that I have done that was rather exciting.
Australia is a very, very, very long flight from here. But a beautiful area, I've heard. Even hotter, you think this is hot? Ooh, Australia, very hot.
I'm the youngest of 4 brothers, and I finished high school in 1944, and all of my 3 older brothers were in service, and being past 17 a little bit, of course I felt that I should have that same privilege. So I did join the Navy, and I got to go to Hawaii and the South Pacific and visit New Zealand and all of these places, and it was a wonderful experience to do that when you're 17, 18, and 19 years old. And I've always been proud of that opportunity that I had and the privilege of doing those things, all at government expense.
All right. All right.
Yeah, there's not much that goes by government expense these days.
No, none of my trips were at government expense.
Good though. You know, I think especially you mentioned going somewhere when you're in your teens, totally and completely changes your perspective on your own life back in the States, right? Which I think is actually a really positive thing for youngsters to go do in their teens. I can now say because I'm in my 40s. Sure, and Mary Lou Becker has just arrived. She has a long commute here. So we're gonna have her do just the very, very beginning monologue that she has that I didn't do for her. We'll just let her come up and do that one just so you get a chance to see her and know her a little bit too. She gets to talk all about a city or small town in Spain called Salamanca. I sort of figured that's like a good thing to put in your mouth every now and then. Salamanca.
Okay. I had the time that we were supposed to be here at 2:30, and the program was at 3. And I live out of town, so I apologize for that. Salamanca, Spain, is about 180,000 inhabitants, and much of this is due to the university. But it seems smaller and much safer than most cities. People go places at all hours. Tonight, after dinner, we walked to a concert given by Philip Glass. The concert starts at 11 p.m., which is very common in Spain. I go with Maggie from Ireland, and I go with a girl from Switzerland. Lourdes is from Mexico, and then there's me from the USA. It's very cool in the evening in Salamanca. And the program is outside in the huge courtyard of an old mansion. It's gorgeous with the different lights, and the concert is New Age music. I love it. One of the group members is Mandingo. He's from Africa. He plays stringed instruments with beautiful abandon. And the percussionist is superb. Philip Glass plays the piano and reminds me of a friend. he and the clarinetist wrote all the music. Some of it was haunting, like the sounds of the forest, waterfalls, and strange birds. Some was very lively and very African. But about 12:30, I got very chilly. And even though I had on a t-shirt and my long-sleeved hard rock shirt, I left. I was alone, and yet I felt safe as I walked a considerable distance back to the dormitory where I was staying. It was another memorable day in Salamanca.
Do you have something you wanted to add to this?
Oh, yes, tell us the
Yeah.
story.
I don't know if we'll reach you or not. Is it gonna go?
I can speak loud enough.
Oh, okay. Here you go.
The only thing I have to say is there's all kinds of journeys. On August 23rd, 2016, I will be 100 years old.
Good for you!
I had 10 children. I have 27 descendants.
Oh.
And it's been quite a journey.
Bless your heart. Wonderful.
What a lovely way to end a good afternoon talking about journeys. Oh my goodness, congratulations is all I have to say, right?
She's really above grant.
And another
Yes.
way to end the afternoon is to bring you a thank you.
Thank you so much.
She has volunteered to do this directing for 2 months. And we've had great inspiration and great direction.
Yes, we have.
And we thank you,
And
Hillary.
fun, too.
We thank you again.
I should say my husband should take his cue from your flowers.
There you go.
Especially since my next birthday, when I turn 45, is August 21st, so.
Coming up, August 21st. Oh, boy.
It's my birthday too.
Share her birthday.
I'll be
Thank you again for being such a great audience. We hope that we brought a little joy in your life as much as we've enjoyed doing this. And hopefully maybe we'll get to see you again in the near future. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.